And welcome to Hour 3 of our 3-hour tour here on Flint's News Talk 1470 WFNT. I'm Tom Sumner, your host, Monday through Friday, beginning at 3 p.m. And I mentioned before we went to news, toward the end of the last hour, if you were listening, that we were going to spend time with music this hour. I always like to do that on Fridays. Very often we focus on some of the great local talent around the area, but one of the, it was David Foley from WFNT here, the operations manager, that he sent me a song. He sent me a recording of a song online, and he said, check this guy out. You might make a good guest for the show. And I did. I listened to the music. It was great, and I talked to him a little bit before meeting him in person today. And I think you're gonna like his music. I think you're gonna like him too. He goes by the name of Mykoman, and his name is Michael Lawrence. He joins me now in the studio. Michael, what should it be?
Mykoman.
Mykoman.
Yes, I earned that reputation.
And he comes wheeling in here like a James Bond mobile, so music must be good to you.
No, I just rented it for today.
No, you're just showing off.
I'm just showing off. I didn't know I was doing radio. I thought it was TV.
Ah, see, therein lies the deal. No. I think radio's much more fun. I want to play a piece of your music in just a minute, but I want to get a chance to get to know you a little bit first. And now, how would you describe yourself? I've been saying singer-songwriter. Is that?
I started out drumming years ago, and so I do all the drumming on all my music and write all the lyrics, do all the singing, producing.
And then you decided to do real music.
Yeah. Nice. You slipped that in, didn't you?
See, because I always tell people, they say, "Oh, are you a musician?" And I go, "No, I play drums."
Yeah, we could go on for days about the drummer jokes, right?
Yeah, that's right. 3-piece suit in the courtroom.
What's the drummer without a girlfriend?
Homeless.
So
that's right. See a drummer in a 3-piece suit, defend it.
Nice.
We could do this.
So I stopped playing drums on the way over.
Yeah. No, that's funny. I love the musician jokes, especially bass player jokes.
Oh, yeah. They're walking jokes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, you write your own music and perform your own music, but you shop your music around a little bit. You were just telling me you've had some people pick up songs of yours, and you've got some looking at some of your music right now as we speak.
Yeah, a good friend of mine is Joe Vitale, and recently I met Joe about 6 months ago. Joe played with Joe Walsh, wrote Rocky Mountain Way with Joe Walsh, toured with the Eagles. Joe's been there, and he's a very down-home, good guy, and so he's helped me a lot. And so he has a lot of credibility within the industry. So he liked my music. He was turned on to my music in the car, and so he was trapped. I wouldn't let him out.
That's why you got that nice car. This is the Tom Sumner program on Flint's News Talk 1470 WFNT. I'm Tom Sumner. Just before the break, you heard the music of my guest this hour, Mykoman, with a song called "You're the Only One." And he is with me here in the studio. Mykoman, good to see you.
Good to see you. Glad to be here.
Thanks for hanging around. Thanks for being here. We're going to hear some more music from him as well, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about, we talked about you play drums and you play other instruments as well, and you sing and you write music, and there are a lot of different things you can do in the music business. There's live performance, there's recording, there's writing, and all of that. Do you have a preference? Do you have a favorite that you like to do?
Yeah, for years I've enjoyed the live, and now I've become really enthralled with the recording process, because I love hearing back in my ears what I hear in my heart, and so that's been really captivating for me. But the live performance is still, you can't beat that.
Yeah, I advocate strongly for live performance as much as I can. But from a professional standpoint, as a musician, one of the things is live performance can be very forgiving.
Yes,
You
it
know, 'cause
can.
once it's gone, it's gone. You
Much
know?
more so than the studio.
And it's yeah, and it's always a little bit embarrassing when you find that recording up on YouTube that somebody took with a cell phone or something.
Right. Yes.
But you do your own recording, and when you're writing, I mean, can you? How does that start for you? I know it's different for everyone. Do you hear a phrase, or do you think of a lyric or something, a theme of a song, and then try to put together music that fits that, or does music hit you in an ambient way that makes you think something that, oh, lyrically this is what I should be talking about? How does that work for you?
I guess the simple answer would be yes, absolutely.
Which is exactly what Martin Mull said. Somebody asked him, so when you write music, you know, which comes first, the words or the music? And he says, yes.
Right. Yeah, it's both. It's both. Sometimes you'll have a melody, and I have these little recorders, and now we have these smartphones, of course. You know,
Yeah,
the dumb
right.
guy using a smartphone.
And we still are stuck with a Polaroid picture of Sasquatch. With all this technology, we still don't have any cool video of the big guy.
No, we have some pictures of his cousin. But, gotta love his cousin, right?
Oh,
He
yeah.
shows up a lot more than the damn Sasquatch.
Yeah.
But, you know, with writing, sometimes I'll have the complete lyrics done, and then the melody will be separate from that. And other times I'll have the melody and then fit the words to the melody. So I've got like pages of lyrics, and then of course it takes a lot of editing. If you start out with more lyrics, then you have to edit the lyrics to adapt to the melody that you come up with.
And maybe even line by line.
Oh, most definitely.
You know,
Most
not just in terms of, you know, too many verses or, you
Yeah.
know, adding a
Words
chorus
within the
or
line,
whatever.
exactly. You know, so
Yeah.
usually I always have too many words. You know, so I'll pull back as I get into the vocal booth and start pulling back.
When do you know that a song is ready, that it's done?
That's a good question. Fortunately, I do know. And how do I know? Because I've done all I can do to it. It's time to move on. And that may take a few days. It may take weeks. Some of them have most it's ever taken me is weeks, like 3 to 4 weeks before I knew it was pretty done. Because to me, after that point, now you're talking about a different concept. Now you're really starting to embed yourself into the song, and now it's going to be made into something that may
Well, then
not
it
be.
becomes, at that point, it starts becoming arrangement and production.
Yeah, exactly.
More than the actual song.
Yes, and that's also fascinating as well, especially nowadays. You know, everything that you can do in a studio. But to me, you just feel it, and when it's done, it's done. But now some people I've heard that they'll spend 6 months on a song, maybe even I've heard them start a song years before and finish it years later. So I haven't done that yet. I'm not saying that's the wrong way. I just haven't done that yet.
But I've always kind of had the impression, the belief that the best songs are the ones that you could sit down with a guitar and just sing the lyrics with guitar chord changes, and it's a good song.
Like a beautiful woman stripped down is better.
I wasn't going to go that far with the analogy, Michael, but I get your point.
Well, you started out with politicians. What can I say?
Well, hey, and it is the weekend.
It is the weekend. Let's go, right?
That's right. But in all seriousness, there is a lot that can be done to an arrangement of a song, but a good song will fit a lot of different ways of playing that good song.
You know, MTV years ago did one of my favorite shows was MTV Unplugged.
Right.
And it was where you took all the production and everything away, and the bands were able to, you could see and hear the band and feel the band in their raw format. And that was the best shows for me, because literally you could take Nirvana and they were unplugged and they were stripped down, they still had that good, heavy, dark vibe to them with energy,
right.
you know. And that's amazing. That's a sign of great songs and
Well,
great players.
and you know, Layla was a rock classic forever until they did the unplugged version. Eric Clapton with just a guitar and, you know, a couple of guys with congas or something.
Yeah.
And it was a hit all over again.
Right.
And so yeah, and again, I think that's one of the reasons why I say that you can really tell a good song when you can strip it down and it's still it's still perky.
A lot of the songs even start out on acoustic, like when I may have an idea or whatever, and I'm fortunate to have a great guitar player, a good friend of mine named George, who's he adapts to my madness, which is very kind of him. But we'll sit down a lot of times with the acoustic first, just to kind of iron it out into structure, and then we set the beats per minute, the click track,
Sure,
drum wise, and then which has been interesting to really to learn that. I got many years before I master it, but that's not as easy as that seems. Click, click, click's not a problem, but you're trying to be perfect at that point, within reason. So now it's almost a study to be imperfect in a perfect world, because you don't want to sound like a drum machine.
right.
So that's
right.
kind of interesting. So but yeah, typically you'll start out with an acoustic guitar or just acoustic congas or something, just to get the rhythm down, get the feel of the song, and so then it goes from there. But so yeah, the stripped down version is usually where you start, and usually if you can end up back there, that's a great sign of a good song.
Now, something we heard just before the break here a little bit ago was "You're the Only One."
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that song. We've got several here, but I want to hear about that.
A very good friend of mine came out, and he's a good friend of mine. He's a guitar player, and he said, I have a piece of an idea, and we literally just got it in the studio and jammed, and I started winging the vocals, what you just heard, and because I'm in love with my beautiful fiance, so it was easy. The words just came out, and so we took that.
Well played, Michael.
So you like that? And she's videotaping with an axe in her hand. But yeah, I mean, and so that's literally how that started. I was able to go in there, and then very few of the words I had to refine. Oddly enough, it literally flowed just like that. And
that axe isn't a Gibson.
No. And there's 40 whacks to go.
There's
right?
no fender.
No. So that's a very special song, and it's been shot now in Nashville. And we have gotten feedback. It's interesting when you're shopping songs. I think my sense of urgency is probably a little bit greater than theirs. And so I've learned not to sit by the phone. I'll put it that way.
Right.
But it's only been a few weeks, and so far we've gotten positive feedback, and so it's exciting. The object is to, as an artist, you really want your songs heard and appreciated. And if somebody else, our artist who's already famous, likes it, and they record it, then that allows you to do a lot more songs.
Right.
Yes.
Now we've got another song queued up, and I want to get some more of your music on. Tell me about this one. This one's very different than the one we heard before. I'm guessing this is by someone from long ago.
Exactly. This is pre-fiance music. This is "She's My Nightmare." And so, and it's to me it was a funny theme. How we get with these beautiful ladies, and they're your dream girl, and turns out to be she's my nightmare. That's what this song's all about.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't know a lot about that.
Of course not.
Well, except for those couple. Anyway, more music from the Mykoman. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Music from the Mykoman. He joins me live in the studio here. This is the Tom Sumner program. That was a very different song from the one we heard before.
Yes.
Not just in the sentiment, but in the music as well. And that begs the question then, how important is the style of music you're going to play for the sentiment you're trying to put across?
When I say I'm trying to be true to the song, it's about, that is obviously more of a rock, darker feel, so to speak. And the other one,
And the sentiment as well.
yeah. And the other one was a country love ballad. And so if you listen to all the new CD and other, we've got like 25 songs, and you can go all the way from a movie theme to a country song to a hard rock to a little bit of everything. And so typically, if you're trying to go after a package deal, they compartmentalize you to where everything kind of sounds in a similar format. Fortunately, I'm an independent guy, and I just want to write what I'm feeling at the moment and put it together. And you can shop songs accordingly, and then it makes for the show more entertaining, because nobody, it's different. Typically,
Right.
if you go to a show, Even great acts have made millions of dollars. You know, sometimes you get bored about halfway through because you've pretty much seen what's going on. You've seen it. You know, they've already done it. Well, to me, I've always wanted to do, even on your radio show we were just talking about, you do something different. You know, and you keep it fresh.
Yeah, I try not to, you know, I mean, if we're going to do politics, we do it, you know, for real. You know,
Right.
we get the big names, we get people in, and we do it for real. And we get great guests from a variety of disciplines as well, whether they're comedians or musicians or actors or, you know, whatever.
Right.
Had a guy from South Sudan on yesterday as well, so you never know what we're going to do.
I'm from North Carolina. Is that kind of the same?
Will this be south of that? Quite a bit south of that.
You think?
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point. You know, if you're doing a political song, you stay true to that political song. If you're doing a love song, you stay true to the love song. And, but I mean, that's what music's all about: playing what you feel and going for it.
And now, we were talking about technology a little bit and some of the options that makes available to you as a recording artist. The question then becomes, why shop it around? Why not be the artist yourself? You have complete creative control and all that.
Well, I am doing that, and thoroughly enjoy that.
And from where?
Cleveland. We're in Cleveland, Ohio. In fact, we go into rehearsals this week. Everybody's together, and if you let, a lot of my material, I'm using gospel singers for backups, and I'll have a horn section. So it's almost like a throwback, if I may say, like Elvis approached that years ago. You know, where he had the energy combined with the gospel singers, and there's a lot going on stage.
Right.
And to me, I happened to see Elvis in Lake Tahoe when I was a kid. And
I was going to say, was this recent?
Well, I've seen a lot of things.
There are people who are still looking for him.
Flying Elvises, maybe, right? that goes back to the
oils.
oils.
That's kind of a KFC or something.
Right. The Flying Elvis burger.
Yeah.
But you know, that whole theme. So I am excited to go into rehearsals and feel it on stage. You know, and we've done pieces and parts in different places, but now that everything's together, now we start rehearsing. The reason I'm shopping the songs is because you want to hit, and you know, if an artist such as a Toby Keith or someone like of that magnitude likes your song, well, that changes your life. It allows me to have creative freedom.
Right.
And that's really what I want, is creative freedom to do what I want, go where I want to go.
But one of the things that's nice about the new technology is the ability to be in Cleveland and be able to pitch it anywhere.
Absolutely.
You know, you don't have to move to LA. You don't have to move to Nashville. You don't have to move to New York anymore.
Correct. Well, you heard the song via email. I mean,
Yeah.
years ago, you had to put the CD or the record in the mail and ship it.
Right.
And even in the studio, now you can do it. I can have a track sent out to LA. The guitar player out in LA can do the track and send it back to us. We never even see the guy.
And you can listen to it and then send it to somebody in Nashville and master it.
Yeah. So it's changed a lot. Now I don't do that because I like to be in the studio, and I like to do it. Even we were talking about this, whether you do things via phone, you do things in the studio, but face to face is like the old school where you're making contact with people. You know, so in the studio we approach it the same way.
And I like that better. And I want to make a point to underscore the fact that you are from Cleveland, came up here to do this interview and meet some friends for dinner, and
Correct.
you know, you could do a couple things at the same time. And I appreciate that very much.
Well, you're very welcome.
You got recognized for going the extra miles.
Well, yes. I got here a little bit late, though. I guess the people were leaving with the oils, but next time I'll be here on time, I promise. And so,
hey, we start early.
And we eat a lot. Love those brownies.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, but technology, and you know what, technology is your friend, but it can also be. I've seen it to where it takes its own message too. And you know, I don't want to go there. You know, we talked about people being obsessed about certain things and whatever, and you lose track of what you're trying to accomplish. To me, going back to that acoustic thing. If your song's
Yeah.
good, then you can play it on an acoustic. You don't need all the gizmos and all the bells and whistles. They help.
It's nice to pretty it up a little
Absolutely.
bit, but you can get lost in the production.
Right. I've even, you know, we're talking about cars earlier. I mean, there's cars out there. I can't even figure out how to work the stuff. And you know, you want to.
And he's saying this, and he's driving in here in a James Bond car.
But you're disappointed, isn't it?
Well, it's not the vintage.
Right.
No, he's got a new Aston Martin sitting out there.
Well, but that being said, we were coming down the road to get here, and we're trying to figure out. I forgot how. Maybe it was to roll down the window so I could get the ticket out of the toll booth or whatever. And I'm stumbling around trying to figure out how to roll. You don't roll down the window, of course.
That's
You're trying
right.
to find where's this button for this car, you know. And so it can be overwhelming.
It's, you know, it's in that panel, you know, with the ejector seat and the,
Right.
the flamethrowers.
I
And
went back and picked her up. She's fine.
nice. Hey, you know, I want to end with some more music. I queued up track 1, but if
That's cool.
Okay.
That's a totally different feel.
and that's what I was hoping.
Yeah,
Is
oh,
that
yeah.
it would be something very, very different to end on the show. That you know, there are people who play a certain kind of music and come up with a few songs like that, and they're good songs and they do well with them. And then there are songwriters, and this, you know, gives the opportunity to show off a little bit more of what goes into being a songwriter.
You know, there's a lot of people going out this weekend, and they'll relate to this song. It's called Too Many People, and they're going to be waiting in line at the bar or doing whatever. There's just too many people. That's the name of the song.
All right. Well, there's never too many people for us, so keep telling your friends to tune into this show.
I'm on it.
But I hear you about too many people. Before we go, though, I want to make sure that you experience too many people. I want to give the listeners a chance to know where they can find out more about you and keep track of the things that you're doing, possibly link to places they might be able to buy your music if they want to.
Thank you. The website is, of course, mykoman.com, MYKOMAN, mykoman.com. And so you can hear the music and purchase the music there.
Great. Well, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. We're going to go to music, and then we've got a break, and Andrea and I will be back to wrap up the show in a little bit. But first, more music from Mykoman.